is again. Here he is again. That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class.
Well, that's I'd like to celebrate, but...
Welcome to my Sorare Journey, episode 52. There is a lot to catch up on. Now, last time we spoke, there was a new plan. There was delivering by Christmas. There was Operation Santa. We had everything planned out. And then this news hit.
Somebody kill me, please. Somebody kill me, please.
So yeah, how much worse can it get than your most expensive, your prize player for the World Cup, injured, not just for a couple games, for the entire World Cup for it's even started. But that is all right because we have the Global Cup to save us, everyone on level playing field for the big prize to meet Zidane, to play football with Zidane. Why the Global Cup team is over is because of the main man to the right, Neymar. So yeah, that blew up as well. Another injury, first game week injury. And that is kind of been the story of my Sorare for a little bit. But I see you asking yourself then, Alex, how could you possibly be complaining if you then got a double podium? Tell us about it. Well, let's go, baby, the double podium. And there we have it, the first podium on Sorare Mega. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, it's not really a podium. It's just nice to pick up something in addition because my teams that week were absolutely awful. I just got really lucky that my Mega team did quite well. So yeah, the team is pretty nice. Captain Messi against Saudi Arabia when they got beat. Jordi Alba bringing it home with Unai Simon. Alba stepping in for Benzema was fantastic for while we had a Global Cup going on, or while we had the World Cup going on, I should say. And in terms of rewards for that, we got a nice Simon Mignolet. Nothing special, sold for £72. You can't celebrate it like a proper podium. But we did get a Sorare podium. Now, if any of you remember this video, 464 of you watch it, did I just get cheated from Sorare? You can see on screen, angry little Alex there is opening his rewards because he thought he got third place and he actually got fourth place. He complained to Sorare and he said, I don't think you've added my points up right. Essentially, they never took into account the second opter, and the second opter doesn't matter if you don't have enough time, but they had 12 hours to do it and it was already scored by the time the game week closed. So I went on this complaint and I went right through it with them. I explained it, and in the next game week I saw it happening to other people, so I showed them. They changed it before the deadline and it worked, and eventually they came out and said, right, you were correct, you should have had that podium, we do apologise, here's your reward instead. So yeah, you know, it takes a wind out your sails, doesn't it? Like, you know, I should have had this podium, I knew I should have had the podium, we could have properly celebrated it, but that is the double podium. It is a lot better than nothing. But it's not been all plain sailing. It has been a tough time for a lot of Sorare managers, and I am not excluded from that. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. Now, I could show you this graph on pretty much any Sorare player right now, but Joshua Kimmich you could buy for £2,367 on the 9th of September. Now you can buy him for £675. What am I telling you? Essentially, the prices of Sorare cards have fallen dramatically, even on some of the best scorers on the game that have scored pretty steady during the World Cup, like Joshua Kimmich. So why has this happened, essentially? There is so many factors. It's not just one factor that's caused, it's not just two factors that caused it. It is, you know, a combination of everything going on. Let's look at the biggest one, right? The economy right now, it is not looking good. So much spending to recover from, you know, the COVID crisis, and then the inflation hit so hard that the cost of living crisis is going on, and then you can't raise, you know, wages because you further inflate the inflation curve. The world is not looking good. So for risky assets like Sorare cards, they're going to be sold because people will need that money to be used on more important things like heating and food and all the rest of it. On top of that, Sorare, the actual Sorare economy, you know, I think the rewards have gone up, so that's included in this. So more rewards mean prices go down, but that doesn't actually mean the users are missing out at all because they're winning more, providing they have, you know, reasonable teams. And then supply. I do think at the moment there's oversupply of cards. You would have seen this was my biggest concern when they dropped the second division Europe, because I was like, we've already got enough cards, we don't need any more. So to further push that inflation rate higher in terms of, you know, the card supply, I didn't think that was a good idea. And I think it's showing in one regard, but I also completely trust Sorare to the point where I think this is actually their plan. If you think of what's coming in the pipeline, potentially maybe whatever, the Premier League, right? Everyone thinks the Premier League is coming in January. I know I certainly do. Well, you want the lower barrier to entry, so people come in and see, you know, Kimmich at £600 and think, God, that is a bit expensive, but I could afford it if I sell this and stretch to this and build this team. But, you know, £2,600 on a limited card, that is ridiculous. So that's why it's not absolutely awful for the platform. And if you are thinking of selling out, that is absolutely fine. I think it's always good to, you know, be as cautious as you can. I've always said treat this game like an investment. It is not an investment, but it's good to treat it like an investment. But I will say, but from my perspective, I have absolutely no doubts about Sorare the product. Through this bear market, right, where prices are going down, everything seems to just be getting worse in the economy and in crypto. They have been making all the right moves, you know, expanding to NBA. It's been fantastic. You've seen me playing it on my journey. It's been so good to play, you know, getting more leagues on, you know, getting more players playing the game. The Global Cup was a massive success in my opinion. Everything is going right on Sorare except for the card prices. So for me, what that tells me in time is that these prices will recover. And when the prices will recover, it's very hard for the prices to then go back down again because, you know, we've seen it over the past 2 years where cards just kept going up, kept going up, kept going up. The reason for that is there's a limited supply. They are scarce. It is so rare. It's almost a concept of the game, right? So I completely see why prices would be down now. I completely see why people would be scared if prices are down now. I have lost, I say it like this, a considerable amount because obviously none of it is lost until you sell it. And, you know, if it's all in the Sorare economy, if you sell a player at a loss and then buy a player who's also cheaper, you don't really lose anything. I do really, you know, feel for the people that are concerned of the prices going down because, you know, they're concerned for a multitude of factors. I would say if you are over invested, you know, feel free to take some money out. You should never be concerned about this game in terms of, oh, if this goes to zero, I can't pay for this or that or this, right? That is not the attitude you should have at all. This is not a money-making scheme. This is a game. This is a game that you can make money on, but it's a game you can definitely lose money on. So be cautious in your own kind of risk parameters. For me, if anything, I'm looking to buy more cards. These prices are so appealing. Sorare taken all the right steps. I haven't thought of selling once. I think everything's going perfect. Yeah, like you've seen me, I've put a couple of ETH in or like a little bits of money in here and there when I could. And maybe I continue to do that because the prices are generally really appealing. But of course, it depends on, you know, what I can win and how my teams are competitive and all the rest of it. To conclude, because there's a lot going on in that sentence, right? Be cautious of your own risk parameters. Prices going down does not make the product any worse. If you are here for a quick money grab, I'm glad to see you go because this is not the type of product you should be here thinking you can just milk money out the system. And it's one of the reasons why I discussed in my last video how the threshold change is absolutely fantastic. And if you think I'm all talk and there's nothing there, what have we got for you? A new strategy for 2023. I mean, I just keep making strategies at this point, but has this not always been my plan? To outplan the opposition, to do it better than them? And let me show you this plan. This plan came out in stages because, you know, I'm always planning. So I was looking at my teams for the next season and I'm looking at, you know, Champion Europe and I'm like, okay, well, if I had Neymar, I have pretty much who I think is the best, you know, best Champion Europe lineup I could possibly get. I would obviously need to go out and fund Neymar. So this is part of my planning. The goalkeeper's Alisson, if you want to care. I think, you know, Alisson Trent would be a great combo. Under 23, I absolutely love every single player in this lineup, especially Jota. But I also think it could be just one of the most competitive best teams there ever are in the U23 division. Missing a couple of players that, you know, maybe I could have for depth, and I do have depth, as you'll see in the next team. And then I have, like I was saying, my all-star team here. Joe Hart, Carter Vickers, Enzo Fernandez, Shemani, Wirtz coming back from an injury. Really excited about that. But of course, I'd taken a step up to rare recently, so I can't forget about my rare cards. And my strategy for 2023, there's a lot of strategy that's going to go on, but one that I want to take advantage of is Champion Europe. If the Premier League does come on board, which I do think it will, then obviously the Champion Europe cards get kind of, I would expect them to move up in price relative to the rest of the platform because now the prize pool is more expensive, if that makes sense, because obviously the Premier League cards will be the most in demand, be the players people know, they'll be the ones they go for and therefore are expensive. So I want to kind of make a team that can win those cards without actually paying for them, if that makes sense. So I thought this Champion Europe team would be a killer, you know, players that I know lots about. You know, I've watched so many Real Madrid games this season where we've got a Modric, Benzema, Toni Kroos combo. It's just ridiculous. And then I spoke about in previous episodes why I've got Unai Simon, how I've got his backup, and if the backup, you know, becomes a starter, he'll be more expensive than my original goalkeeper. That's kind of that strategy, and it's like, well, what's easy option there? Defensive stack. Yeah. So then I would use the rest of the funds for a threshold team. So, you know, you're trying to hit that 205 or 250 points every week. Non-playing goalkeeper doesn't matter. And you know at home, you know what's happened. You've watched the last video. The thresholds changed dramatically, so I had to have a rethink. What I was actually thinking was I'm tired of the SO5 grind. I actually thought I want to kind of go back to my old ways. I loved when I was trying to find a player that I think would appreciate in value and sell him when he appreciates in value. So this is why this team looks a little weird. So I needed to raise funds. So ignore Tony Cruz, and I'm looking at Keylor Navas sitting on the bench of PSG, and I'm like, ooh, when does his contract expire? Is there any teams looking for a goalkeeper this window where I get a non-playing goalkeeper, I pay non-playing goalkeeper prices, he gets a transfer, and I then have a playing goalkeeper? Could be good. Milan Skriniar was linked very heavily with PSG. I think I almost bought one unlimited, or maybe I did, and the deal fell through, never happened. And I was like, ooh, well, if I get one of him, and then he goes to PSG, I've got one of the best defenders at not one of the best defender prices, if that makes sense. Camavinga, you might be wondering what's going on here. Camavinga, at £800, £900, still really undervalued in my opinion. If you look at Shemani, who's like a £2.5 player, £2 player, well, how many more years has Modric got left? Maybe one. So if I play Modric and Camavinga, whichever one's going to play right for the rest of the season, let's say it's Modric 80% of the time, Camavinga 20% of the time, and maybe I get it wrong 20% of the time as well. So, include that in your DMPs, right? Well, yes, there's a bit of headache this year, but if we say Camavinga then plays next year because Modric retires, moves to a different team, or just plays less, then I've got a £2.5 player because, Camavinga's younger than Shemani. I think he can put up as good a scores as him, and he's in the same team. I was like, that is such a good opportunity, and I really want another Camavinga now because of that. I have got, his Ren rookie Camavinga, but that could take a few years to, actually start returning. But that was my thoughts with that. So you might see that in my new series of most undervalued players. So check value hunting, I think I call it in my shorts. Check out that. We got Moussa Dembele, and I'm just thinking, one of those players that always wants full-time minutes. I saw him linked other place. I kind of saw him linked with Celtic, but that was more like fans wanting him back than actually being a real link. And then Sebastian Haller, obviously massively unfortunate for Haller. I think he got testicular cancer. He definitely got some form of cancer. He was out for the first half of this season. I thought he was back for the second half of the season. I thought he'd be a good player to pick up. But yeah, I don't know too much about him, to be honest. I haven't researched fully into all the conditions. And yeah, just thought to go out to him. Hope he's really okay, obviously. And then I remembered how fun it is to play SO5, and I was like, I just want a team. They changed the cap mode, and I was like, well, if I use the money rather than going for Camavinga and I bring another goalkeeper, I can have 2 Champion Europe goalkeepers, which means I can play, fixture selection, which I've never really actually done fully on Sorare on a budget kind of thing. What I've done is I've had the best players in limited where I've had to pick their best fixtures, but I've never had like a kind of middle of the tier teams, middle of the road teams, and then pick selections based on who they're playing each week and hoping they'd line up. Going in as an underdog in terms of cost, but using my advantage, using my knowledge of the game to hopefully win me some rewards. And I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to settle on. So I had a few of these players already. Simon, went out and got an Inigo Martinez. He was like under £100. I think got him for like £88 in rare. Like, he's just coming back from an injury, and as far as I know, he should be a starter when he's back. So I was like, great price. Luka Modric, about £200 for Real Madrid. Yes, he's not got many years left, but he puts up scores when he plays, and I still think he'll play. I mean, look at him in the World Cup. He's still putting up 90 minutes most games. Griezmann I've got, and he's been electric for France in the World Cup, and he keeps dipping in price. And I was like, can I get rid of him? Can I really get rid of him? I always loved Griezmann, and I thought, I've got Benzema or Griezmann to sell. Benzema's almost double the price of Griezmann. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. He's about 30% above Griezmann's price. And I was like, Benzema's cost me about 3 times now. If you've been watching the journey, he's cost me in limited. He cost me in limited when I bought him twice, and then he's cost me in rare as he got injured. And I was like, sometimes the world's just trying to tell you something. Stop using Karim Benzema. And I managed to make this really cool deal. I'll show you that. Let me know which of these strategies you would have gone for in the comments, by the way, because I am wondering what you would have gone for. For me, I'm in the capped Champion Europe, just trying to dominate 2 divisions on a low budget compared to the relative cost of the division for the other players. That is, I'm liking it. Rodrigo de Paul, I hope he gets gone from Atletico Madrid very quickly. He's got, the World Cup final to play. If he does win that, maybe that increases him in terms of like the rest of the world. But he hasn't had the best World Cup, to be honest. But I just love him. The fact he loves Messi and he treats he's like Messi's bodyguard. I mean, big Messi fanboy, right? So I am going to appreciate that kind of thing. And then we've got a kind of cap team. And then we've kind of got our cap team. And our cap team is obviously a mix and match of different things, because it's going to be fixture selection in Champion Europe, or it's going to be fixture selection on the cap division. We don't know how many rewards are going to come out yet. And then hopefully grinding that $50 every single week that we can. They're playing. What you'll notice about this goalkeeper, Rui Patricio from Roma, is they'll have fixtures for the Europa League. And I thought that's a nice little bonus. At his price, I think he's only £700-800. That's not bad, that's quite a good price. And in addition, I also wanted a little bit of that last strategy, where we're kind of appreciating in value. So Roma cards were the big focus for this because they've got European fixture, but they don't have any new supply this season. There was an issue where Sorare didn't get a couple of licenses. I think it was Inter, maybe Juventus. No, they got Juventus. It was Inter, Roma, and another Italian team. Drop it in the comments if you know it. But essentially, they weren't being minted this season. So we keep the XP, and then on top of that, we don't have the kind of inflation effect of new cards coming to the market. So I thought that was cool. If you've been watching the channel, I watch a lot of Roma. Me and my girlfriend support them as like our kind of Italian team, and well, her first team really. And Zaniolo is probably, it was her favourite player. One of my favourite players. He's just like, he's just a young stud, really. He just loves it, and he's class at football. Back from 2 injuries now, and hopefully he can kind of cement his spot as a first team place. And then I got Luka Jovic, and I was like, this was part of the trade deal. Essentially, I'll show you the trade deal later, as I said, but it was a big trade deal. I needed to add some value on his side, and I was like, who can I bring in? I was like, well, if I need a forward, they are normally quite expensive, in terms of who you're going to get. You're probably not going to get any good deals. But Luka Jovic, we know his talent. Yes, he's not hit the ground running at Fiorentina, but he is an absolute monster. And shout out for Sorare Italy, because after I'd got Jovic, I went out to him and asked him a couple of facts, and he gave me some really good information. Turns out he supports Fiorentina, so really, really good information, even though I didn't know that. So it's good to have, and I'm just thinking, European football, a forward that's an absolute monster in the Bundesliga when he played. Yes, he's out of form, but he's slightly growing back into it. If you check his last fixtures, he's actually scored quite consistently. I'm like, yeah, an absolute monster. If you can't tell, all the green ticks are the ones I've got, and the other ones are, considering buying. I've got a little bit of an ETH balance, but I do really want a Camavinga, as I explained before. And then Mancini. Mancini is like, he's my favourite Roman player. There's no way about it. He just loves cards. He loves aggression. He just loves smashing through a player. And I'm a big old school centre-back, hard, tough, proper footballer. So that is exactly what Mancini is. The first season I watched him, I think he had like 15 cards in 30 games. It's a kind of player you love as long as he can keep his head. Sometimes he loses it, but risk reward, isn't it? So there are the 2 new teams we're working towards, and I am very excited for them. So I will show you the trade deals. I just need to show you if there's anyone missing. So Bono, £122, bought 1 day ago. That is for this game week. I was short of a goalkeeper. I looked at the prices and I was like, I think they're playing at 100 star tiers. Obviously, they're celebrating the World Cup semi-final, so I was like, 122 is steep. Bono's up a lot. I know he's going to come down in price afterwards. We'll just check how much we've lost in terms of like Bono's price specifically. And I only did this because I had a really solid team besides him. I'll show you that as well. Just want to see how much Bono's trading at. Not the lowest prices anymore because of those. So Bono's trading at 81, 73 to 81, somewhere in that region. I got 122, so you're looking at 40, £50 loss. But the live team, it has not done too bad at all. 39, fantastic. So multiple rewards. That should be a tier 0 guaranteed if they're paying out top 100. Let's just make sure I'm not off my rocker here. So yeah, stars for tier 100. Now I know the star pool hasn't been fantastic, but top of it is, Mbappe. The bottom, Brenner, Savario, Utrecht. Yeah, it doesn't get too great, but, you're still getting a star tier. So we'll see if we manage to hold that position. I mean, there isn't any more games to go, so I'd be surprised if I didn't hold that position. But yeah, that is really solid. So I think it's definitely worth it just for this 1 week. It wouldn't be worth it for everyone. I am an absolute moron, though. I took out Orlean Chouameni for Rodrigo De Paul. I've got played by De Paul again. I'm just so biased towards him. I saw him playing at Cam and I was like, he's going to score really great, even though Croatia are a much harder opposition than Morocco, in my opinion. They probably didn't turn out to be in terms of the results, but, pre-match. And then Rodrigo De Paul wasn't even playing Cam. Like, I knew he wouldn't even play Cam. I think I was just biased by my whole kind of, well, not happening again. But yeah, 39th, no complaints. This is tier 0 stuff. Come on. And then we got a couple of collectible cards. So Alistair Johnson signed for Celtic. I could get his gold collectible version, which can't play in SO5, obviously, 72p, doesn't matter. Emi Martinez, absolute legend. Obviously I'm a bias towards Argentina for Messi. I definitely want them to win the World Cup. His gold version for 429. After, if you've seen on Twitter, I'll put my tweet here, how I was just like really celebrating the fact that footballers these days, they just oh, thanks for the game. Any post-match interview is just like, oh, we played well today, you know, all of this is so boring. Martinez comes out, slags off the ref and all the rest of it. I was just like, this is fantastic. Some real rugged football. Gold card 429 made sense. Wayne Hennessy I want as a reward. If anyone wants him, just drop I want Wayne Hennessy and your Sorare name. I'll send it to the first person that does. Unai Simon in gold, I won that as well. I was just like, that's quite a cool collectible. Obviously I've got his rare. I was like, yeah, we'll hold it for now. Anderson Lopez was a reward. This is a great sale. You don't see sales like this. Wait till you see, you know, you complain when you don't make the right sale, but when you do make a right sale, it looks like this. Let me zoom out. 6 months. Ooh, longer than 6 months. 1 year. Yeah. So purchased about 117, sold for 188, and today £17. Obviously it's the Asian off season, so he's not worth much, but just after I sold him he got suspended for like 8 games. So I think it was spitting on someone. It was absolutely disgusting, but good sale by me. Come on. Tehran, don't know a lot about. If you do, let me know. Songbum Kyun. So he was the keeper for Jeonbuk. When the capped limited came out, I was like, I've only got 3 goalkeepers and they're all quite big scorers. Have I got any like low average players that maybe we need one for the off season as well? You know, when the European football stops, we can still grind those thresholds in limiteds. So I don't really have anyone. So I thought Songbum could be perfect. You know, I don't really know much about Asian football, to be completely honest. And then he's already got a move. Thankfully, it's not like Saudi Arabia or something. It's in the same league. I've even forgot what team it is, which is just awful. It's a team that Tanny plays for, so I'm sure most of you know it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for him. I messed up. I bought one. I haven't done this in a while. I bid, and I didn't even check what price he was. So I actually bid over what I could buy him for now. So then I bought him for now, and then I panicked because I had 2, and I sold the other one for a loss as well. I was just like, I only lost like 50p or whatever, but it was just stupid. Rasmus Nicolason. He is surprisingly expensive. You know, I think he plays for Toulouse in the French league as a 25-year-old defender. So relatively he's quite expensive. So someone let me know about him. I'm probably going to sell him regardless because, you know, limited I'm quite depthed out, especially in Champ Europe. But yeah, cool to know. Jeremy Gellin, just, you know, low value. Picked up a Messi collectible. I was like, if Messi, you know, when he's on the run to the World Cup, I was like, it's probably quite a good collectible to have. I actually want to get one of each Messi. So the bronze, the silver, the gold, the platinum. If I can't get the platinum, they'll be ridiculous. I'll be happy with the front 3, but I'll probably only do it if he wins it, unless everyone else has the same idea and, you know, buys up the supply. RDP, spoke about why we like quite a lot. Guindo reward, Bernardo reward, looking to sell him. And the rest of the giveaways for the Secret Simply Alex League. Fair play to everyone that's playing that. I think it's pretty much locked up, but, you know, we'll see. We'll give out the rewards when it's finished. And I don't think there's anyone new in the team, so let's see how we've acquired some of these pieces, because a lot of them had been trade deals. I'm losing massive amounts of value, but sometimes they make a little sense, and let me show you why. So we done a deal with Pavel Trader, of course. So he fought on the day. He was getting about £558, and I was getting £436. So some quick maths, it's about, you know, £120 in his favour. Realistically, it's a lot smaller than that. It's about £70-60 in his favour. Why is that? Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba had just been knocked out of the World Cup for Spain, and I'm like, back at Barcelona, he's not got a lot going on. You know, I think it's Balde that's the first option there. Alex Balde at left back. So picked him up for 280. He was averaging at the price 420 because everyone thought Spain was going to go to the World Cup final. He's playing really well, putting up hundreds all the time and decisives everywhere. And then, you know, Pavel bases off the last average. So obviously, Pavel did take like 30% on this trade. I think he knew there was a red herring somewhere. Maybe it's just dealing with me now. But I was like, he's going to drop massively in price, as he has, 273, and that's with one auction. You know, if I had to try and sell my card, the only option is like, list here, and then someone undercuts me, someone undercuts me, someone undercuts me. You know, sometimes the best thing to do when your player is going to drop in price is get a trade deal out, and I think this is a perfect example. This deal then I did with Mr. Swap, all cards, 115% no crap super res. I respect that, you know, so I tried to abide by his rules. I thought 15% is fair. You know, I'm not trying to gain an edge here. I just want 4 of your players, right? So I wanted Jovic, DeMarcos is obviously a stack with Bilbao, and Simon, my goalkeeper. Skriniar, I've talked about, I think will go up in value. Patricio, I think, is a solid keeper for the cap mode, especially if he's got European football. Especially as his average has gone through the roof as well. It has. Has someone bought Patricio for a massive price? That'd be good. No. Okay, just listed. Okay, just panicking there. But essentially, yeah, it's a tough one. So I managed to get rid of players I'm not using. So like Greg Taylor, yes, fantastic. I love Greg Taylor. Bernabé for, he might push him this second half of the season for a starting spot. I was like, I don't want any of that. Araujo was a great value win. I listed him so many times and no one was taking him at the price I wanted. He was averaging, I was putting him at the average. I was like, well, if I can average sell him instantly, that'd be cool. Apparently not selling for 148, which is slightly below, if that's cool. And the big dog Benzema, I spoke about him before, right? It caused so many headaches for me on this game. I was like, I just want to get rid of him. I also think his last sale is 1285. We haven't had one in a couple of days. I've explained prices have been going down quite dramatically, quite quickly. I could easily see Benzema going down in value a little bit further. But at the same time, I could also not see him going down in value further because his limited is at 147. So, normally they're about 10x. You'd expect him about £1,400, trading at 1,250. We'll see where it goes. Either way, I'm just really happy with this trade. Like I said, this isn't me trying to get a leg up on anyone here. This isn't me trying to gain an advantage. This is make it easy for me. I've got 4 players in your gallery I want, which cements my strategy. I'm happy to give you 15% of all players that, are playing, have value. No one's going to do anything bad. It's just you take 15%. It takes you longer to sell them. Is that good? Is that a deal? And the funniest thing about this, I sent in this deal, and there's now the counter option feature. Finally, someone's used it, and then he wanted back Marquinhos off me, and I was like, how does he know that I'm trying to sell Marquinhos when I haven't even got Marquinhos for sale? It's like he looked through my whole gallery and I was like, obviously he's going to pick like a Wirtz or a Junior or a Jota, someone I like. And he just comes up with Marquinhos. So I was like, okay, you're probably getting a little bit more than I wanted, but I'm not going to go renegotiate back for another player that I, probably need. I'm trying to sell Marquinhos. Take it. Thank you for the deal. Solves my problems. Gives you a little bit of equity. Perfect. I will say as well, my ETH balance has been topped up with a couple of NBA sales. I've been loving the NBA, but I thought, if I need a bit more equity on the football side, I'm going to go take it. Sengun, 0.1 ETH, things like that. I tried to sell a couple of goalkeepers for the second division. I thought I could move up to super rare when the cap mode came out. After a little bit more thinking, I realized I'm not going to be able to afford super rare, so I sold them for a minor profit, just trying to keep on top of all these things. I won Daishi Kamada. I'm pretty sure he was another Sorare mega win, not a podium this time. Sold him like below value or just average value. I just wanted rid of him. Just trying to raise an ETH is a little bit difficult when prices are going down. No one wants to sell at a loss really, so that's a little bit difficult. Brought Acuna in for a 1 game week, traded him out. Jordi Alba, you already know about. So I think that's pretty much everyone, That's pretty much us up square on how I got everyone. The conclusion of this bit is trade deals sometimes are the best option. They'll either speed up the process for you, you can get players you want, or you can be a bit sneaky, and when you expect a player to go down in price, obviously these people, if they don't know about the player, will be using the averages. In your theory, in your head, he's worth less than his average. It's that simple. So I've done both methods there and I'm really pleased with both. I think that's pretty much it for now. It's been a really long episode, but also so many new people have been coming to the channel, so thank you for that. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I really hope you like this longer form content. I knew I enjoyed it. I had a lot to catch up on. I was really busy in life. Now I'm a little bit less busy, so you should see more content coming to you. I hope you like it, and yeah, all the best to you. Cheers. Just a quick thing here as I was finishing recording. Sometimes it's better to be lucky rather than smart. Bono, we're talking about how much value we've lost on him because, got him for 1 game week. Completely forgot they've got a 3rd place playoff. I should have bought some more. I don't think I was the only one that forgot about this, but yeah, that means we can put out a pretty stacked team. This won't be the team, I'll do a bit more thinking, but yeah. We've got another international special coming up. We'll check how many rewards are quickly before I let you go. Sorry for keeping you so long. Leave a comment if you're here to the end. Say that Bono is playing. Say Bono's got a game, you mug. Something like that. Any idea where these rewards are? Anyway, drop a comment if you're here this late. I always appreciate it a lot. Another 100-star rares. Come on, Bono. Bring it home for the boys. And Messi. We are a big, big supporter of Argentina. Obviously, Sorare is made in France, but the GOAT needs the World Cup gold. Come on, Messi.